everyone, welcome back to the kitchen. Today I have a really awesome seasoning blend for you. We're gonna make meatloaf seasoning mix, big batch style, and I can't wait to show you how this all comes together. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Today I'm going to share with you how to make a big batch meatloaf seasoning mix. And then in a later video, I'm going to share with you how I make the meatloaf. And I know you're going to love it. It's just going to be a classic home style comfort food version of meatloaf that everyone's going to love. It all starts with the seasoning. And what we're going to start off with is 1.5 cups of beef bouillon powder. Now I am using a Knorr beef bouillon powder. This is my chosen brand. You can use whatever brand you like. If you like the organic salt-free beef bouillon, you can use that. You're just gonna have to grind it up in your Ninja or in your coffee grinder until you have a fine powder. 1.5 cups of minced onion, 1/4 cup sweet paprika, dry mustard powder, onion powder, garlic powder, these are both granulated, dried parsley, dried marjoram. If you don't have marjoram or you can't find it, you can use dried oregano. Marjoram is just a more mild version of oregano. It's not so like in your face. It is a little sweeter. It's kind of like a milder, gentler version of oregano. So it's not gonna like taste overly Italian or overly Mexican. So marjoram is my choice when it comes to beef dishes. 1/4 cup of dried basil, 1 tablespoon of dried thyme, 1 tablespoon of ground celery seed. You can leave this out if that's not your favorite thing. And 1 tablespoon coarse ground black pepper. And you can leave it out if you don't like it, or you can add more if that's your preference as well. You'll notice that I didn't add any additional salt because this bouillon powder has a lot of salt going on. So I will add one more option for you. A lot of times in the Latin section or in the Latin market, you can find chicken bouillon that has tomato in it, and it's like chicken bouillon with tomato powder added, and that's a nice thing to add here. So what I would do is, if you can find that, I would use 1 cup of the beef bouillon powder and 1 cup of the chicken with tomato powder, and that gives a nice tomatoey edge when you go to make your meatloaf, and it makes it extra delicious. I did not have any on hand in the pantry today, so we're just going with the beef bouillon. While we wait, I want to take a moment to say thank you for watching and being a part of our community. And please consider hitting that thumbs up button if you like what you see. And if you're new to my kitchen, welcome. Please hit that subscribe button. And as always, if you're a tried and true member of the Noreen's Kitchen family, be sure and hit the bell notification button, because we don't want you to miss out on all the real food for real people, real easy recipes that we present all the time right here on our YouTube channel and straight from our kitchen. I just like to mix the dehydrated onion and the bouillon powder together first, because sometimes if you get all that going in there, it doesn't mix as evenly. So there's our garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, thyme, celery seed, mustard, basil, marjoram, parsley, and black pepper. And the reason that I don't add so much black pepper here is only because when I make the meatloaf, I might want to add a little more, and we don't want to put too much in the mix. Just give this a really good mix until everything is really well incorporated. Then we'll transfer this to a storage jar or a storage container. Then when we come back, I'll talk to you a little more about this meatloaf mix. There you have it, our big batch style meatloaf seasoning mix all ready to go. Now this made approximately maybe 5.5 cups. So what you're going to want to do when you're going to want to store this in an airtight container, I like to use mason jars. You can vacuum seal your mason jars if you have an attachment for your vacuum sealer. So the way you want to store this is in an airtight container in a dark, dry place, aka your pantry if it has a closed door. I like to keep this in my pantry. I have 2 in my hallway, and I like to keep them the one at the end of the hallway, which is the coolest one in the house. So that's where you'll choose to put yours. This is going to last at least 6 months in a cool, dry, dark place, but it's not going to last that long. And you have plenty to share. And you can always opt to, break this recipe in half if this is too much for your particular use. So what I like to do with these mason jars is, if I'm storing it in my pantry, I like to take the flat lid And then I like to take one of these plastic storage lids, and I like to do that because the flat lid has a gum seal on it. The storage lid is plastic, and it's gonna hold that down because it's got nice threads. And usually the rings tend to rust before anything else, so using the flat lid with one of these lids is great for storage, not for canning. Great for storage, not for canning. So that's what I'm gonna do to store mine. If you are ready to make meatloaf, I will be making a meatloaf recipe shortly, and we'll upload that video soon. And once I do, I will link that video here in the information box below. But just for your information, when I make meatloaf, I use 2 pounds of meat at a time, and you're gonna wanna use this much, which is 1/4 cup of seasoning for every pound of meat that you use. So if I use a pound of beef and a pound of pork, then I'm going to use a 1/2 cup of meatloaf mix, seasoning mix, to season that meat. And then you can add some additional seasonings. We're going to add a few other ingredients to make a beautiful, moist, delicious, flavorful meatloaf that's going to be like your grandma used to make. So that's how you make meatloaf seasoning blend, my way. I hope you give it a try, and if you do, please leave a comment down below and let me know how you liked it. I can't wait for you to try it. I can't wait for you to love it. Until next time, I'll see ya.